Shalom. Good Erev Shabbos. So I want to take a little moment to reflect on a bit of this Parsha. We have Parshat Tetzaveh, which is also Parshat Zachor, which is a very special Parsha. And we're going to jump right in and talk about a little bit about the Parsha. At the beginning of the Parsha, it's really one of my favorite spots in the Torah. It's after all of these instructions of how to construct the Mishkan, the traveling home for God, lots of details of how to make the whole thing and make it happen. And then once that was completed, so then the Bnei Israel, the Jewish people, were given another mitzvah, the mitzvah of the instructions and the mitzvah to donate olive oil for the menorah. And we know the menorah is a shining light in the temple all the time, and Hashem gave us this mitzvah because He wanted to give an example of how no matter what we do, we can always take another step and continue to occupy ourselves with mitzvah, with bringing merit to ourselves and doing good and bringing good and light to the world. So specifically, the menorah, bringing oil for the menorah, is a very specific mitzvah to give as the first specific thing to do after the construction itself happened. So in this parsha, the Moshe's name doesn't come up in the parsha, and it's unique that his name is not in the parsha, and the whole parsha is connected to Aaron HaKohen, his brother. The beginning of it explaining the menorah, lighting of the menorah, and the rest of it is mostly about the clothing, the big day kahuna that the Kohanim wore. So Moshe obviously probably wasn't so happy about this, to not be included in this. Originally he was supposed to be a Kohen, but because he fell, he was demoted to the role of a Levi. But still, Hashem told Moshe, God told Moshe that even though this happened to him, that Aaron is just like him. It's like his own merit that it's coming through in that way. And Aaron and the Kohanim did do the lighting of the menorah. That was their job. But Moshe received all of the donations. So with the construction of the temple, which we went into in Parshat Truma, everyone was asked to bring from their hearts whatever they would want to bring from their hearts. And there was so many beautiful materials that everybody brought. It was overwhelming, and within a very short period of time, there was more than enough materials. And then again, here we see again that they're asked to bring something as to offer it. So the olive oil, and it's not for no reason that it's olive oil. It talks about in the Midrash that the oil that was used to light the menorah is only the finest, most refined oil, shemen zayit zach. And how do you get that oil? When the olives are pressed, the first few clearest drops of olive oil are that fine oil, and the rest of it has sediment in it, which could be used for other things, could be used for the mincha offering, but only the first few drops, which were completely pure, were used for lighting the menorah. So this is giving us a hint into deeper ideas, and we're going to look a little bit more into why it's olive oil specifically. So the Jewish people, Am Yisrael, is compared to the olive. The olive oil, the olive itself, the fruit of the olive, it's a specific type of fruit. You can't take an olive directly off of a tree and eat it. An olive needs to go through a process to be made into oil, to be made edible. On its own, it's really like a rock. But when the olive oil is pressed, which alludes to how we have been through a lot, that we've been pressured, we've been persecuted, we've been smushed in so many ways, then this little push, which sometimes doesn't feel so little, but this push that we go through brings out the best in us. It makes us rise to a higher level. And not only that, but all of this pressure and everything that we've gone through, all of the challenges that we go through, this is an ongoing experience that gives us an opportunity to purify our hearts. So the way that we're compared to the olive is giving us a hint into the fact that really we have this aspect of us, the purity of the oil, those first few drops, and the purity of our hearts, which comes through being like an olive, going through so much to bring out the best in us. Also, in general, how is olive oil different from other liquids? So in general, usually liquids, you put them together and they mix together. But olive oil doesn't mix with other oils. Not only that, but it also rises to the top. So this is also something that's hinting at our experience that through everything that we've gone through, we stay distinct like olive oil, which stays separate, and also that it rises to the top. So that olive oil rising to the top is just like we have this incredible resource and treasure chest, which is the wisdom of our tradition coming through the Torah, which is a light. It's a light of wisdom that's brought to the world, and the Beis Hamikdash will illuminate the whole world. So this olive oil, this holy olive oil that we're connected to, is a lot like us, which is what we are supposed to do, is light up the world, because this is really our nature. This is what we're here for. So, in general, a few ideas about the menorah itself. So in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan, every morning the Kohanim would come in and relight the candles of the menorah. And the amount of oil that was put into each of the cups was calculated according to the long winter nights. So there was always enough that it would burn all the way through the night. And on the short summer nights, sometimes there was some oil left over in the morning. But even on the longest winter nights, there was enough oil that it would burn all night long, and then the Kohanim would relight it in the morning. And a miracle happened, is one of my favorite miracles that comes up, is that the western light, the most western light on the menorah, it always stayed lit. It never went out. Even though the exact same amount of oil was put into every cup, that most western light always stayed lit, and it got the special nickname of being the Ner Tamid, an eternal light, a light that never goes out. So this is something that I personally really love, because I've had the privilege and amazing experience of making a Ner Tamid type of a chandelier for special spaces in a synagogue, a few of them around the world. And whenever I'm making one of those lights, it takes a lot. It's a big project. It takes a lot of effort to figure out how to do it and make it really nice and make it, kind of a beautiful symbol for this light that never goes out. So it makes me think about it, and I have all the time while I'm doing the work to really think about it. And something else that I heard is that the menorah, that light, that furthest western light, which always stayed lit, even once the menorah was hidden down in the underground chambers when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, it was still lit, and it is still lit. So I heard this recently, and I think that's a beautiful idea, because the idea of the eternal light is something that I think is really important to keep in mind all of the time. Not only in the Beis Hamikdash, we have this outer expression of this home for God in the world that we're creating and that we're maintaining and that we're shining light from that place. But at the moment, actually, there is no Beis Hamikdash. So what do we do? How do we relate to that? So everything turns back towards the inside, right? When there's no outer expression of a thing that is a true thing that needs to keep going, then it has to find an inner expression. So all of these years that we haven't had a Beis Hamikdash, we have to know and work on this place inside of ourselves, of building a Mishkan, of building a Mikdash for Hashem inside of ourselves, inside of our hearts. And I love keeping this idea, this image of a light that never goes out inside of my heart, inside of everybody's heart, whether we're aware of it or not, it's there. And making an effort to be aware of it, connecting to that place, knowing that I have a pure inner light that's connected no matter what I do, it's one of the best things that I've ever done for myself or anybody else. Because if I remember that, if I know that I have a light shining inside of me that never goes out, that's always connected, that's always pure no matter what, just like that light in the Beis Hamikdash that would never go out, because that's the way it was created. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with me. It has to do with how it was created. You and me and all of us. So the next step is to be conscious of it and to be coming from that place. And this brings us to a little another fact that I find also really beautiful and interesting, is that the windows in the Beis Hamikdash, you would think, logically, a window would be open so the light could shine inside the building. But the windows in the Mishkan and the Beis Hamikdash were created totally beyond logic in such a way that in the inside they were very narrow and the outside they were very wide. And this is symbolic of the fact that the wisdom of the Torah, this light which is ongoing, shining wisdom of the Torah, is something that shines from the inside out. It's shining out to the world. So this we can also use as a meditation to consider for ourselves. We have that light inside of ourselves that's pure. It can't be taken away from us. And we also can imagine this window from what we have on the inside shining out, getting wider and wider outward. So I just had a little, for me in the midrash I read, because we don't have the Beis Hamikdash now, we're not able to donate oil for the menorah. So the mitzvah then transfers over into our lives in a way that we can do it now, which is to illuminate the Beit Knesset and the Beit Midrash. So this made me really happy because I've gotten to construct and design and make a few chandeliers, lights that are lit up in a Beit Knesset and a Beit Midrash in the world. Very special experience, and to think of that also, in a symbolic way, that we bring that light to our places where we come together to pray and to be connected together. So, I wanted to just light a little candle on that note. I have my little candle here, and give us all a blessing that we connect to that inner light inside of ourselves that's always there, that can't get taken away from us, that's always lit no matter what, and shine it out. That everyone, this is what we're here for. Every single one of us has something inside of us that is our light, and we're brought to the world to bring it and to shine it. And it can bring, and it should bring, and it will bring all of the healing that the world needs, all of the light and joy that the world needs, all of the connection, peace, and shalom, and goodness that the world needs. So, I'll just turn the light off so you can appreciate the candle is lit there. So, blessing us all. Have a beautiful Shabbos. Our light and our joy should completely wipe out all of the darkness and Amalek, and we should see the great redemption soon together in Jerusalem. Good Shabbos.